Hello, hello, hello. How you doing this evening? Thank you very much. How are you feeling this evening? Great. Whenever somebody asks me how I'm doing, I always say better than good and better than most. And that's what I like for you to say. How are you doing?
Better than good, better than most.
Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, you're doing better than good.
You're doing better than good.
All right. You know, I like to say that because I believe that we are. We have a lot of things going for us that many of us don't realize, and many of us really never use all the things that we have going for us and ever act on the things that we'd like to act on. And consequently, most of us go through life sleepwalking, never really discovering our true potential, never enjoying life to its full extent. And so, therefore, I think that there are some things that we need to begin to do to take charge of our destiny. How many of you like to take charge of your destiny? Raise your hand, please. Very good. All right. So we're going to do that. And you know, one of the things that really stimulated this, I was with a friend of mine. We were riding back after I'd spoken to her company, and they had a major downsizing. Now they call it right-sizing, when companies reduce the workforce for economic reasons. Well, at any rate, when we were on the plane and she said, you know, I'm no longer going to be with the company. And I said, no. I said, why? She said, well, my division has been eliminated. I said, well, you do have another plan, don't you? And she said, no. I said, but didn't they have something of this nature about a year ago? She said, yes. I said, but did you start thinking that maybe perhaps you need to prepare to do that which you really wanted to do? Because this person that I've known for a long time always wanted to be involved in fashion design. So I said, haven't you been doing something on your fashion designing career? She said, no. I said, but what have you been doing? She says, hoping that nothing happened to me. I said, but hoping is not a process. It's not a method. You know, a lot of people go through life like that. Now, that wasn't really what she wanted to do. But I do a training seminar, and one of the things we ask, what would you do if the unthinkable happens to you? What would you do? If you had an accident, or you lost your job, or you were laid off, or you became ill, how would you provide for yourself if the unthinkable happens to you? And it doesn't always happen to the other person. It can happen to me, it can happen to you. But most of us go through life thinking that, well, just maybe it won't happen to me. That we'll just read about somebody else that it will happen to us. Talking to a friend of mine by the name of Maria, who is wheelchair bound, and she said that she had an experience in her life that taught her that she's not immune from life, because she was diagnosed as having muscular dystrophy at age 15, and she figured that was tragic enough. But 2 years ago, because of a malfunctioning wheelchair, she fell out of a van, struck her head, and suffered a closed head injury. Had blood on the brain, and they said that she perhaps might go blind, or she have loss of memory or concentration. And I said, how did you handle that? She said, Les, it was the best thing that could have happened to me. I said, why? She said, because on that day, I woke up and I realized that life is about today. Living today. That whatever I want to do, I do it right now. She said, I enjoy getting up in the morning, looking out of the window, just looking at the grass. She said, because I could have lost my vision. She said, I'm appreciative of just the little things. Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, be thankful for the little things. Isn't that important? That we've got to begin to learn how to become thankful for the little things and live in life right now. So I want you to think about your ideas. All of us have ideas and things that we have not acted on. I want you to just think about them right now. E.L. Simpson said that an idea should be like a pen. You know, that a pen that you sit on and you jump up right away to do something with it. So I don't want you to just think about it. I want, when you leave here, I want you to jump and do something with it, all right? Now, so think about this idea. What does it take to be in charge of your destiny? Well, you got to begin to develop some skills, and you got to ask yourself a question. What do you have going for you? What is it that you have going for you right now that's a real plus for you? What is it that you have going against you? What kind of training do you require? What is it that you need to learn? See, you make money only one of three ways in an economy of this nature. You have to have a skill, like I've developed the skill to become a speaker, or have some specialized knowledge, or have a particular product or service that you can provide for the public. John H. Johnson of Ebony Magazine said something very important. He says, there is no defense against an excellence that meets a pressing public need. So any idea that you have, it must fulfill a need for somebody. Once you think about it. Now here's the next step. Don't worry about the fact that you don't have all the things you need in order to make it happen. Decide that you're going to do something about it. Become an active force in your life. See, you've got some talents and abilities right now you have that if you don't challenge yourself to use those talents and abilities, you'll never ever discover the full effect that they can have on achieving all the things that you want to achieve. Most people go through life never using the power they have. You have enormous power to begin to create all the things that you want in your life experience that most people go through life never using. I travel a lot speaking around the country, and I was out of Detroit for around 2 months. I came back to the airport, went in the parking lot, put my key in the ignition, turned the key. Can anybody tell me what happened? Now, can you tell me why the car did not get started? The battery was dead. Why was it dead? I had not been using it. Repeat after me, please. If you don't use it, you lose it. See, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't use your talents, if you don't use this power, this force that you have within you, you're going to lose it. If you have the ability to write, and if you don't write, you're going to lose the ability to write as well as you do right now. If you have the ability to play an instrument, the world's greatest pianist said that if I miss a week of practice, I know it. And if I miss 2 weeks, the critics know it. And if I miss 3 weeks, my audience knows it. If you have the ability to draw well, and if you don't use that talent eventually, you're going to lose it. If I don't speak often, and at one point in my life, I missed speaking for around 6 months. And when I came up before an audience, I was rusty. I could not get my thoughts together. I could not have the power, the kind of confidence that I needed in order to make it happen. So whatever you want to do, whatever idea that you have, the longer that you're sitting on that idea, you are either creating or you are disintegrating. If you're not using it, your skills are diminishing every day. And there goes a second. There goes another second. And life is happening right now. But Les, what do you mean? Get your butt out of the way. So many people have gone to their graves, never discovered their true potentials because they allowed their butts to stop them. Like, but I don't know what to do. No, that's not really true. I was on a television program the other day. A lady called in and she said, there's something I'd like to ask you. And I said, what is it? She said, well, I have this thing I want to do, but I've been unemployed. I lost my job for 2 years. I haven't been able to find a job. I don't have the money and I don't have the contacts and I really don't know what to do. I said, excuse me. I said, the fact that you don't have the money or the contacts really is not the issue. I said, what's the real issue? She said, what do you mean? I said, what's stopping you from doing what you want to do? She said, well, I don't know. I said, but if you did know, what would your answer be? She said, well, I think maybe I'm afraid. I said, what are you afraid of? Maybe I might fail. See, a lot of people allow fear to stop them from living their dream. Answer your calling. Whatever you're called to do, don't count yourself out. Don't say, I can't do that. Many of us go through life saying no, and you don't even know what you're saying no to. You don't know what you cannot do if you're not willing to challenge yourself. Whatever it is that you don't know how to do right now, you can learn. I did not know how to speak for major corporations. I didn't know how to do that. But I decided to become a student. If you do your research, if you do your homework, if you make the commitment that I'm going to learn, when you look at what do I have going for me and drop your buckets where you are, decide I'm going to work and get myself together. A guy named Jim Rohn said, if you develop your gifts will take you places that you'll never begin to imagine. And I decided to do one thing. All my life, I've been a jack of all trades and master of none. I mean, I did a little of everything. I was a disc jockey. I was a state representative. I used to be an MC. I used to do public relations work. I used to do door-to-door sales. I did a whole lot of things. But I decided that I was going to do one thing, and I would master that. And after mastering the art of speaking, then I would become a trainer. And after doing that, then I said, I must become a businessman. Just find one thing. and just decide that you're going to work with it until it gives you the blessing that you want, and don't let up on it. Just keep right on working it and working it and working it, and knowing that whatever you do, you can better your best, that you can get better at it, that whatever you are achieving right now, it's only a tip of the iceberg of what's possible for you. Now, here's something else that you do when you start working on this dream. Give it everything you got. See, put your heart in it. Most people, when they're working on dreams, they don't give it everything they have. I heard a guy say in a book, the title of it was, All You Can Do Is All You Can Do. And all you can do is enough. Well, see, most people don't do all they can do. Most people go through life holding back. Have you ever had the experience of starting your car and you mash down on the accelerator and the car, boom, wait a minute, hold a minute, start mashing again, and it was not moving, it was very hard, and all of a sudden you realize that you had the emergency brakes on? How many of you ever had that experience? Raise your hand, all right? Then you release the emergency brakes and then the car moved, boom, unencumbered. Most of us go through life with our emergency brakes on. Well, it might not work out. People might talk about me. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough education. I'm too ugly. Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, what you have is enough. See, you know, there are two kinds of people in life. There are winners and whiners, you know. Most people go through life just whining. I didn't have enough money. I didn't have good credit. They didn't like me, you know. No, life is not about that. See, the major key to your taking charge of your destiny is you. I mean, if you have the credit of Ross Perot, that will help. All right? If you got somebody to co-sign for you, that will help. If you happen to be handsome, that will help, you know. If you have people who will support you, that will help. But all of those things are secondary. The major key to your taking charge of your destiny is you. It's you. And even though you might not have all the things going for you that you would like, you have the power within you as you begin to develop your consciousness, as you hold the vision of what it is that you want to do, as you decide to answer this small voice within you. Because as you respond to this voice that's telling you you ought to do this, the way will come, ideas will come to you. You will begin to attract things you need and things that you don't even know that you need right now. You will develop the skills in the process as you look at yourself, finding out what is it you need to do, what kind of adjustments you need to make, what new strategies that you need to begin to implement to make it happen. But if you don't put yourself out here, if you don't become actively involved in life, if you hold back on yourself and continue to procrastinate, when I saw a speaker who I said, I know if this guy can do this, I know I could do that. That was years after I had made the decision to do it. I was holding back on myself. I kept building up all kind of reasons and excuses to justify why I wasn't acting on my dream. Most people go through life as volunteer victims. They go through life volunteering to be victims, giving excuses on why they're not pursuing their greatness, giving excuses on why they're not doing the things that they want to do, putting it off again and again and again, wasting valuable time. Life is very valuable, ladies and gentlemen. Time is very valuable. And it's very fragile. You've got to decide to do what you can right now and don't delay. Living your life like a sense of urgency. Repeat this, please, and tell somebody on your right and left. Live your life now. Be happy now. This is not a dress rehearsal. Do that, please. This is your Super Bowl. Do you know there are people who put more emphasis and more energy into a sporting event or dancing or entertainment than they do on their dreams? They have more interest in who won a particular game than where they are in relationship to their goals and their ambitions and developing themselves. So you want to begin to get your priorities in order. Ask yourself the question, the people in my life right now, are they contributing to my growth and development? Are they making me a better person? What I'm doing right now, is it nourishing me? Does it empower me? Is it giving me what I need out of my life right now? Is it challenging to me? Is it making me stretch mentally and emotionally and spiritually? Is it getting the best out of me? See, this is the only life you've got. So you don't want to squander it doing something you don't want to do, feeling you can't do any better. You can do better. You should do better. You deserve to do better. You're entitled to that. That is your right to do better. So resolve that within yourself. Make it something in your life that you just won't compromise on. See, it is important to me that I be able to provide for my mother. That is not optional, to be able to provide for my children. There's a standard of living that I'm going to enjoy. It is not optional. It's not something that I would like to see happen. It's not something that it'll be okay. It's something that I value. And as you begin to look at your life, draw the line and say, hey, what is it that I need that can give me a sense of fulfillment? What is it that I need right now that I would enjoy, that will give my life some music and some power? Decide that, because you deserve that. But if you don't decide that and decide to make that happen, it will never happen for you. It will never happen for you. I did a training years ago, and after this particular seminar, I'll never forget a lady who was 85 years old. She stood up and we asked her a question, anybody has anything brave to share? And she said yes. She said, this was a very enriching seminar for me. It really opened my eyes. She said, I'm 85 years old. She said, all my life, she said, I sacrificed my dreams for everybody else, for my family, for my husband, for my children. She said, I've really never done anything for me of value, of the things that I really find important. She said, I say to you young people, you won't be in my situation right now if you decide to live your life now. She said, if I had my life to live over, I would do things differently. She said, but I don't have it to live over. And when I go home, I got news for my husband. So repeat after me, please. I'm going to live my life now.
I'm going to live my life now.
I deserve that.
I deserve that.
Okay, now here's something else I want you to realize. Things are going to happen. You've just got to handle it. My goddaughter, Nika Williams, who lives in Columbus, Ohio, just this past week, 3 children in her neighborhood that she went to school with were sitting in a car talking. An intoxicated driver lost control of his vehicle and ran into that car and killed those 3 kids. The children that they went to school with experienced pain and grief and shock, but they became actively involved in putting together the funeral services. And I talked with her. And I said, how you doing, Anika? She said, I miss them. She said, but there's something that I realized, that many of the relationships we have in life, we take casually. And we don't say all the things that we really should say and do all the things with people that mean something to us that we really should do. And she said, I'm going to miss them. But it's really alerted me about how unpredictable life is. And so now she's going to become a very sharing person, more so than ever before, and all of the other young people that were involved. But they were handling it. And as you begin to look at your life, decide to handle things. When you decide that you want to begin to take control of your destiny, there are going to be some sacrifices that you're going to have to make. There'll be things that you're going to have to decide, I got to give this up. I've got to let this go. Many times you will have problems in your personal relationships. When I decided to become a motivational speaker, I was gone sometimes for weeks when I left home before coming back. And I'll never forget, I did a big major rally for a guy by the name of Dexter Yeager, a big Amway rally called Free Enterprise Day. And after speaking, people were chanting, we want the motivator, we want the motivator. Boy, I was excited. So I ran back to the phone after I came off stage and I called the young lady that I was dating then. I said, look, I wiped them out. They love me. They were saying, we want the motivator. Listen, they're saying, we want the motivator. We want the motivator. So she said, Les, I need to tell you something. I said, what? And I heard a voice in the background said, hurry up and tell him. I said, who's that? She said, Les, you've been gone so long. I said, yes, I've been working on a dream. And I'm sorry, the relationship is over. What? You gotta be kidding me. I said, hang up. I said, wait. And I said, Mr. Motivator, come on. I said, hold a minute, wait. I said, Mr. Motivator, come down. I said, okay. I went outside, I looked at the people, I said, you got to have a dream that's real big. I said, sometimes things will happen to you that will catch you on the blind side and bring you to your knees. I went back to the hotel, but they had to pull me off stage. I was out there saying, you got to have a larger vision. You got to be hungry. They pulled me off. I said, and you got to stay motivated. They said, come on, motivator. They were turning the lights off. The janitors wanted to go home. I wanted to keep on for me. So they took me to the hotel. I was walking in the room trying to find the Gideon Bible. And Lonely was sitting on the bed saying, how's your positive attitude? How's your larger vision now? I'm telling you, when this happens, think it not strange. You're going to cry. People are going to get mad with you. People are going to start working against you. Your mate is going to get upset with you. Where you going? I'm working on a dream. Uh-huh. I got your dream. You ain't going to know it. People are going to start going crazy on you. Becoming jealous and envious, that's a part of the program. Understand that. See, that's why a lot of people say, no, that's all right. I pass on the dream. That's all right. I just keep on biting my nails, hope nothing don't happen. But it's an experience that opposition, those obstacles that you will encounter, that's how you grow. That's how you become stronger. Now, will there be some tight moments? Will there be some times that you want to give up? Yes. Here's something I was reading that Harriet Beecher Stowe said. She said, when you get into a tight spot and everything goes against you until it seems that you cannot hold on for a minute longer, never give up then, for that is just the place and time that the tide will turn. Never give up then, and that is so important. When you're working on doing the things you want to do and fulfilling your dream, and things happen, there are times when your energy feels so depleted that you want to give up, that it looks just totally impossible. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, don't give up then. That's when you've got to fall forward, when life is kicking dirt in your face. Don't give up then. That's when most people turn back. Most people will tuck their tails between their legs and they will run in the opposite direction and say, that's all right, life, I don't want this. All right? No. If you've decided that this is what you want to do, you've got to become courageous to stand up within yourself, to face it and step forward. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what gives your life meaning. Those things will begin to strengthen you like you can never begin to imagine. And I tell you, one of the most painful experiences I had in my life was also one of the most enriching, because they say that pain opens the space in the heart for joy. And because I did not buy into something, because I caught myself at a critical point and was able to back up and look at it, I was able to become free of the effects of what could have been a tragic situation for me and move on and do something about it. But I learned in the process that I had to learn to surrender and give certain things up. See, in life, everything that happens to you, there's a lesson in it. There's a lesson in it for you. If you look at it, whatever happens to you, just look at and view life that you're a student of the universe and say, what's in here for me to learn? One of the most tragic things that happened to me that could have been a tragedy was when I wanted to buy my mother a home, and I did that. And in my haste, and it was the first major purchase of property that I ever made in my life, and so I was naive. And so when we were sitting there at the closing, the attorney said, have you done a title search? And I said, what's a title search? And she said, well, that's when you check to see whether or not there are any liens against the property before you purchase it, so that you don't inherit any financial obligations of the previous owner. So the guy interrupted and said, look here. He said, the only reason that I'm selling you this house, and I'm doing it at a loss, I can actually make more money, But the only reason that I flew here from Philadelphia to sell you the house specifically is because I admire the fact that you're adopted and you want to buy this home for your mother. And he said, there are no liens on the property. I just want to help you. So I looked at my attorney. I said, I believe him. She said, Les, this is business. I'm not questioning his integrity, but I advise you not to sign the contract now. I looked at him. He said, if you're not going to do it, man, I'll just go ahead on and make the money that I was going to make. I said, okay, no. I want to do it. I said, I'll do it. So she said, okay. She said, this is not the last house in the world. I signed the contract. After being in the house for around 2 months, I received a notice that I had to pay a lien of $25,000 or I had to get out of the house. I called the attorney. I said, look here, sir. I said, my name is Les Brown. I'm the new owner of this property. I said, I bought this home for my mother. I said, she's 80 years old. I said, she has a bad heart, a serious condition. I said, and I just cannot give up this home. And I just exhausted all of my resources to buy the house. It's all I have. I said, can we work out some kind of monthly payments? I don't know how much I can get, but if you can work with me, I guarantee I'll give you my word. I want to keep this home. I'll pay you back. He said, we want the money in 6 weeks or you have to get out of the house. It's going to go on the auction block. I said, oh. I said, but I borrowed everywhere I could just to get the $12,000 to put down on it. He said, mister, that's not my problem. You should have had a title search done. So I went back home and I worried for weeks. I lost around 23 pounds. I would go home to catch the mail so my mother wouldn't get it. They put a listing in the newspaper. People were driving around, wanted to come in the house to look at it. So I put a sign out front saying that the newspaper article was an error, saying that the house was up for sale. And finally, when they were coming for the day they were going to auction it on the courthouse steps, I knew the moment the truth had come, I had to tell my mother. So I walked all night that night. Around 2 o'clock in the morning, the children were asleep, my mother was asleep. I said, Lord, why did this have to happen to me? I said, I'm trying to do the right thing. I want to provide for Mom. I'm not out stealing and robbing. I want to provide for my children. I said, why did this have to happen to me? I was personalizing, not feeling like a victim. And so finally, I had to go in there and I had to tell my mama. So I kneeled by the bed. I said, Mama, I got something to tell you. She said, what? I said, we've got to move out the house. She said, why? I said, well, because of the fact that I made a mistake and I signed a contract when I should have had a title search done, and I can't pay the $25,000 outstanding lien against it. She said, good, I don't like this house anyway. I said, but you told me you did. She said, I just said that for you because you liked it so much. She said, it's 2-story, baby, and the arthritis, I can't climb the steps. But you told me you could, Mama. Oh, I just did that for you. I walked up the steps and I was in the room saying, that fool crazy with this house. I said, oh, Mama. So I'll never forget when we had to pack up and go back to the old house we had moved out on in Liberty City, right down the street from Miami Northwestern High School. And the neighbors were out looking. Isn't that Mamie's boy? And they're coming back. You know? I was so embarrassed. I mean, I turned red, but couldn't nobody see it, you know? So my sister came over. She didn't make it any better. She was like, mixed the big time. Won't get no job going around and running your mouth. Yeah, you got a dream to get Mama home. Now, you back where you belong here. We came in the house and the roaches were playing bid whist. They said, y'all come on in, we miss y'all. And as I was taking furniture off the truck, I was so hurt and humiliated. I felt beaten. And I began to cry, and I held my head down. And my mama said, hold your head up, boy. I said, Mama, I just can't, Mama. She said, hold your head up. You have nothing to be ashamed of. You did the best you could. Hold your head up. So I said, yes, ma'am, Mama. So I was carrying the furniture in. And I had to give a lecture that week on forgiveness. And I can't talk about anything unless I'm doing it myself. And I had to forgive and forget. let it go so that I could grow. It took me time to work through that, but I did, and I was able to give the lecture. And to this day, I can't even remember the guy's name. But because I let it go, and I began to focus my energy in the now, later I got a bigger and better home for my mama. Here's what I learned from that. That was not the last home in the world. There were other homes. If I had just been willing to just let it go, he who cares less wins. And the guy called and said, you got to get out of there. If this is what happened, I could have, through worry and stress, I could have had a heart attack over a house that my mama didn't even like. Do you follow what I'm saying? So I now realize, hey, it's only things. And it's okay, they are replaceable. I lost everything except my spirit, and except the love of my mother and her respect and the respect of my children. Sure, people talked about me. Did they laugh? Yes. Did I feel humiliated? For a while, yes, I did. Embarrassed? Yes. And that's a part of it, but I didn't stay there. See, sometimes you can wallow in it, don't want to get somebody pull you out feeling good. Oh, I want to go back again. Don't wallow in self-pity. And there are people who will help you. You call them up and they'll give you a pity party, all right? No. I talked the other night about some explorers that were in Africa. And they saw these two little boys who were playing with some what appeared to be marbles. And they went up to these little guys and said, here, let me give you some candy for that. Little fellas ate the candy and liked that. I said, can we have some more? I said, yes. But would you give me what you were playing with? And they said, yes. And they gave these shiny little rocks, so to speak, to the explorers. And the explorers, taking them back and examining them, discovered they were large-size, uncut diamonds. They had a fortune. The little boys had a fortune in their hands, but they didn't know. They did not know. Repeat after me, please. If we knew better, we would do better. See, there are many of us, we work for people and sometimes put in 60 and 70 hours a week. Why? Because we have the ability, the talents, and the skills to contribute to the long-term growth and development and profitability of the company. Do we do that for ourselves? Oh, no. Why? Well, we say, well, I've got security. There's no such thing. It's an illusion in your mind. We go through life creating these illusions for ourselves. But it doesn't mean that you can't strategically work on something else on the side. Develop some hobby of passion and find ways that you can begin to create some alternative methods of providing wealth for yourself. See, money is not important to me, but Rita Davenport said it's right up there with oxygen. But it is important to me that it not be important. I got that from Rhea Steele. That's important. It is important to me that it not be important. Make it important to you to live your dream. See, how many of you fly airplanes? You've been in an airplane? Raise your hand right. How many of you ever lost your luggage? Raise your hand, please. Raise your hand. All right, very good. Now, how many of you, if you knew your chances of getting to your next destination were as good as your luggage, would you still get on an airplane? No hands went up. You know why? You know why you could get on the airplane where your luggage is supposed to go and you show up and your luggage does not show up? Because the airline has made human cargo getting to the destination important. More important than the luggage. Aren't you glad? She said, yeah, I ain't gonna fuss no more. So as you begin to look at life, as you begin to look at the things you want to do, decide that you're going to become the active force in your life. Decide that you're not going to go through life feeling like a victim. Decide that when things become challenging, and they are, that you're not going to personalize it, that you're going to look at it and you do whatever you must do in order to work things out and learn from it. Learn from it. That's the key. I like what Charles Udall said. He says, in life, you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges. If you've lost your job, don't say that I've been laid off. Just say, I've been given an opportunity by the universe to find my life work. So as you view all of the things that happen to you as an opportunity, now you're taking it from a different perspective. Now you become an active force in your life. Now you are the one, rather than running from things as they begin to change, you become a change driver because you know that you've got the power within you to make the difference. This force, this power, this energy that you have, that's more powerful than anything that can ever happen to you. You're more powerful than your circumstances or anything that you can experience right now. Decide that you're going to commit yourself to act on your ideas, to become happy. Commit yourself to live your dream. Commit yourself to become the architect of your future. There's something that I heard that Goethe wrote that I love very much. And it really, as you begin to operate out of this consciousness, you begin to experience a different level of living in terms of commitment. He says, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. See, until you are willing to jump out there. Somebody asked me, how do I do that? I said, no. You don't need any answers now. You need to make the commitment. Once you make a commitment, then life will give you some answers. You can't decide just going to sit on the side of the pool and just stick your toe in. No, you've got to be willing to make the leap. Most people don't want to do that. They rather sit on the side and say, tell me, is it cold out there? Is it rough out there? Come on out and see. See, no, you want to decide to make that commitment, because then that's when you become involved in the learning process. He said, concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there's one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never have otherwise occurred. He said, whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, magic in it. Begin it now. I read a book by Dr. Johnny Coleman that says, it works if you work it. And as you begin to look at your life, decide that you're going to start working on that dream. You're going to work and nurture that idea. Now, there will be people that will criticize you. There will be people that won't see it for you. But I say to you, don't let them turn you around. Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, don't let nobody turn you around. Yeah. That's key. Because people will try and turn you around. Hello? People will try and turn you around. But when I heard Bob Mays out of Chicago sing that song, don't let nobody turn you around, that's real. Because that's why most people don't act on their dreams and ideas. That's why most people, when I'm talking with kids that are in institutions, and I said, what happened? Why did you give up working hard and making good grades? Well, they started teasing me. And they allowed that peer pressure to cause them to scale down their dreams and their ambitions. They started following the crowd. That's why many people don't do the things they want to do. A friend of mine, he wanted to become an actor all his life. He let someone convince him, you can't become an actor. You go out to Hollywood, they'll swallow you up. It's too competitive. Thousands of unemployed people out there. But then another friend of mine, Sheila Hall, and she decided at age 42, I'm going to live my dream. Her son graduated from high school. She decided to make the plunge, to go to Hollywood. Quiet person, never had any experience in the area. And because she decided to make the commitment, she is now working on a one-woman show. And she's been getting support from everywhere because she was willing to make the commitment. This other guy is far more talented and skillful, but he wasn't willing to make the commitment. So he goes to work every day to a job that's making him sick because he doesn't have the guts or the boldness to stand up in life and say, I'm going to live my dream. I'm going to commit myself to live out what's in me. I heard Dr. Johnny Youngblood say, I must live what's in me. I said, why do you do this? He said, I got to do it. I got to do it. And I'm saying, find something in your life that you say, hey, it might not work out, but I got to do this. Why? Hey, it's the one thing I love. It's my piece. It's my thing. You don't understand it? It's all right. It's all right. You don't need anybody to understand it. You don't need anybody to approve you. You don't need anybody to say, go ahead on and do it. If you get that, that's fantastic. If you get that encouragement, that's great. But I say stand up within yourself boldly and say, this is my life. I'm controlling my destiny. This is Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy, Leslie Calvin Brown, saying it's been a plum-pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. Thank y'all here.
They can't handle the booze. You may be seated. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you to share a few moments with you. And let's give a round of applause to a man who's been empowering people to help them to live their dreams, to go to the next level. Major break. Hello? Y'all should have an ever-ready battery, you know. Okay. Let's try this again. Thank you so much. Thank you. This is an even better microphone here. Anyhow, as I was saying, Eric has been helping people to live their dreams for a very long time. That has been his passion. That's who he is. Giving people the tools, the mindset, the attitude of what it takes to really control your future. Let's give him a tremendous round of applause, if you please. Yes, indeed. Yes. This is who he is. Yes. That's my brother from another mother. How many have major goals you'd like to achieve? Raise your hands, please. Very good. I like seeing that. Always like to ask that question, how many of you have major goals you like to achieve? Then I follow up with another question, because this is a crucial place in my life. Just came from the memorial services yesterday in Plano, Texas, of Zig Ziglar. I remember when I first saw him speak, I knew I was looking at my destiny. I love helping people, and my goal was to be on stage with Zig and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Jim Rohn. These guys have gone on to the next level, but that was my goal and dream, and I was very fortunate to achieve that at a very crucial point in my life. This industry has really contributed a great deal to me. I go way back in multi-level marketing from the days of a company called Best Line Products, a guy named Bill Bailey. He was one of the mentors of Jim Rohn, one of the greatest speakers on the planet, and holiday magic. At this stage of my life, and I think about all of the things that I've done, I can tell you unequivocally, to dreamers, there's no business that will contribute to your growth and development more than this industry. There are several power strategies I'd like to share with you, but with the limited time that I have, I want to drill deeply on 3 of those that you will have as a result of being a part of this industry. Because what this industry allows you to do, and I want you to write this down. Number 1, it secures your future. It secures your future. Number 2, it will stretch you. You develop some new skills, people skills. You're a dreamer, you can't make your dream happen without building people. As I reflect on my life, 15 years ago I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, given a 2 to 3 year prognosis. And the skill set that I developed in multi-level marketing allowed me to generate enough income that I could focus on my health, take care of my mother, I'm adopted. I was born in a poor section of Miami, Florida called Liberty City. The other thing it did, it expanded my vision of myself. This is a time that as you look at yourself, there's no such thing as job security. How many of you know that? Raise your hands, please. And it instilled in me a sense of confidence, a strong sense of self. When you have a strong sense of self, that gives your life a sense of purpose. Your life has a sense of purpose, it gives your life a sense of direction. And the economy has changed. We have switched. I remember reading a book by Alvin Toffler called Future Shock. And the things that he talked about, what he predicted, we're living that right now. The 40-40 plan is gone, where you can go to college and graduate and get a job and work 40 hours a week doing the same thing for 40 years. That's gone. 73% of the college graduates, when they graduate, unable to find a job, they move back home with their parents. What multi-level marketing does, it empowers you and gives you the ability to create your own job. It gives you the ability to create your own destiny. I remember seeing Zig on stage. If you give enough people what they want, they will give you what you want. I remember Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, change your thinking and you will change your life. I remember Jim Rohn, when the end comes for you, let it find you conquering a new mountain, not sliding down an old one. I remember Earl Nightingale, all of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. I remember listening to those recordings over and over and over and over again to change my mental blueprint. I was born in a poor section of Miami, Florida called Liberty City with a twin brother, and in an abandoned building on a floor. And when we were 6 weeks of age, we were adopted by Mrs. Mamie Brown. Whenever I speak, I always say, all that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. So I signed once and said, God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. Mama was a domestic worker. She worked on Miami Beach. She made up beds and cleaned homes. She cooked for families. We ate the food left over from the families that she cooked for. And my mother could bake too. Mama could bake a sweet potato pie so good you couldn't eat it with your shoes on. You had to take your shoes off so you could wiggle your toes. We wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that Mama kept. These families are kind and generous. They would say, Mamie, whatever food is left over, you can pack it up and take it home to those children that you have adopted. When I ask you how many have big goals and dreams, I want to ask you to think about your goals and dreams in 3 areas. Number 1, what's some personal goal that you have for someone that you love? My first major goal was to buy my mother a home. That's what I wanted to do. I remember walking around these big, beautiful mansions before catching the bus, going back to Liberty City and Overtown in Miami, and said, Mama, she said, what is it, Leslie? When I become a man, I'm going to buy you a big, beautiful home just like this. How many have somebody that you like to do something for that's personal to you? Raise your hands, please. Very good. I want you to think about that. I'm going to share with you some strategies how you can make that happen. Next thing is, I want you to think about your financial freedom number. That when you reach that number, when you earn that amount of money, that you will feel a sense of relief. It take a lot of stress out of your life. It give you more time for yourself and for your family. And what that number is, if you wrote it down or if you're thinking about it, I want you to multiply it 100 times. And the reason that I want you to do that, I have found in my own life that most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail in life because they have done what I did for the first part of my life. Aim too low and hit. And then I want you to think about your social contribution. I believe that we live in the greatest country in the world that allows us to live a life of contribution. Horace Mann said we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. One of the goals I have is to reduce the number of women who die from breast cancer. My mother was a 22-year breast cancer conqueror. One of the goals I have, every time I get on stage, I tell men that I was diagnosed 15 years ago with prostate cancer, given a 2 to 3 year prognosis. One of the things I believe doctors should never tell someone they're terminally ill. What they should say is that my ability to help you has terminated. So I encourage men to get their PSA test, which stands for prostate-specific antigen, and the digital rectal examination. And I'll be glad when they can check our prostate by looking in our ears. Can you feel it, brother? Up it here, up it here. I was at this medical convention. A friend of mine said, "Hey, Les, let me give you a free rectal." I said, "No, buddy, you too motivated." Homie don't roll like that, you know what I mean? I was at Florida Hospital. Guy came in, new doctor, didn't say hello, good morning, anything. Goes get some gloves and some petroleum jelly. I said, "Hey, buddy, this is our first date. Hey, you got to bring me some potato chips, some M&M peanuts. We got to sit down and talk. I got to get relaxed. What's your mama name?" I can't believe I'm telling y'all this. I'm turning red, but y'all can't see it. Oh, my God. One of the goals I have is to train. My gifting is in the area of helping you to discover your power voice, how to become a powerful presenter. That's what multi-level marketing does. The money's in the front of the room. The money's in 101, small groups on the telephone. Your ability to present yourself. A gentleman changed my life, Mr. Leroy Washington. He's in his 90s now. He's blind from glaucoma. I never forget the first day we met. I went in his class. He said, "Young man, go to board and work this problem out for us." I said, "Oh, I can't do that, sir." He said, "Why not?" I said, "I'm not one of your students." He said, "Look at me." "Yes, sir. Go to the board and work the problem out anyhow." I said, "I can't do that, sir." And the other students started laughing, saying, "He's Leslie. He's DT. He's got a twin brother. His twin brother Wesley is smart. He's DT." He said, "What does DT stand for?" "He's the dumb twin." And many of the kids laughed, just like some of you did. And I said, "I am, sir." And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, "Don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality." That was a turning point in my life. On one hand, I was humiliated, but on the other hand, I was liberated, because he looked at me with the eyes of Goethe, who said, "Look at a man the way that he is, he only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be." I want you to shake someone's hand on your right and left and look them in the eyes and say, "You have something special." Do that right now. Ladies and gentlemen, you have something special. I don't know you, but here's what I know about you based upon my own experience. You have something special. You have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. Just the fact that you showed up, the fact that you said yes to this industry, it says a lot about you. You're uncommon. Because it means that you have a sense of taking responsibility for your own life. George Bernard Shaw said the people that will make it in this life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. You have something special. You have greatness within you. You've experienced setbacks and disappointments like everybody else in the economy, but you're operating out of the thinking of one L.C. Robinson, who said things may happen around you and things may happen to you, but the only things that really count are the things that happen in you. You have something special. For some of you, it was a struggle to get here. You couldn't afford to be here, but there's something in you that said, "I can't afford not to be here." You have something special. You are uncommon. One great American said, "I choose not to be a common man. It's my right to be uncommon if I can. I seek opportunity, not security. I don't wish to be a kept citizen, humbled and dulled by having this state look after me. I want to take the calculated risk, to dream and to build, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to live from hand to mouth. I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the still calm of utopia. I will never cower before any master, nor bend to any threat. It's my heritage to stand erect, proud and unafraid, to face the world boldly and say, this I have done. That's what it means to be a part of multi-level marketing, an uncommon desire to live your dream and control your destiny. There's something in you that says that you're not sitting back waiting to see what politicians will do for you. There's something in you that says, I'm not going to focus on the general economy, I'm going to focus on my personal economy. There's something in you that says the most dependable hand in the world is the one at the end of your risk. There's something in you that says always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. You are different. You have greatness within you. Dr. Howard Thurman, come forth. Here's a man that after having 238 radiation seed implants, and my PSA continued to increase. In fact, last year this time it was over 1,500, and the little C cancer had eaten 40% of my T1 vertebrae. And I was reading his words that night after leaving Florida Hospital, and doctors had told me that cancer had reappeared, had metastasized in 8 areas of my body. And I began to laugh as the doctor spoke to me, and he was looking real serious. He said, why are you laughing? I said, I feel like Mother Teresa. He said, what do you mean? She said, Lord, I know you know how much I can bear. I wish you didn't have so much confidence in me. And now my PSA is 0.0. I'm debt-free, cancer-free. Yes, indeed. I stand before you because of God's grace and mercy. And trust me, it's better to be seen than to be viewed. But Dr. Thurman was called upon by Dr. Martin Luther King Sr. He said, Howard, I want you to mentor my boy, MLK. He was a member of an elite group of orators and mystics and philosophers in his day. He was an advisor to Mahatma Gandhi and to Albert Schweitzer. He wrote, Deep is the hunger, the voice of the genuine, the centering moment. He wrote some words that I was reading around 3 o'clock in the morning that grabbed me. He said, the ideal situation for a man or woman to die is to have family members praying with them as they cross over. He said, but imagine being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the ghost of the dreams, the ideas, the abilities, the talents given to you by life, but you, for whatever reason, you never pursued those dreams. You never used those talents. You never used those gifts. You never used those abilities. And there they are standing around your bed looking at you with large angry eyes saying, we came to you, and only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever. And the question is, if you died today, what dreams, what ideas, what books, what leadership, what voice, what story will die with you? Miles Monroe, great speaker out of the Bahamas, said the wealthiest place on the planet, it's not in the Far East where there's oil in the ground. It's not in South Africa where there are diamond mines. He said the wealthiest place on the planet is there you'll find potential never realized. There you'll find books never written. There you'll find abilities and skills and talents and gifts that the world never had an exposure to. Maybe that's why Henry David Thoreau asked in a moment of anguish, what if you live your whole life only to discover that it was wrong? That it was wrong. That God had so much more in mind for you. Maybe that's why he said, oh God, to reach the point of death, only to realize that you've never lived, only to realize that you've never scraped the surface of your potential. Everybody let us say together, live full, die empty. And the people in this room have decided to live full. The people in this room have decided to die empty. The people in this room have decided to live life on their terms and not to be a volunteer victim. When you say yes to this industry, you're saying yes for a bigger life. You're saying yes, I'm tired of playing small. You're saying yes, I'm ready to be empowered to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. You're saying yes to providing for yourself and your family. There's something that's in you that says, I'm not mentally fit to work for somebody for the rest of my life. You're saying yes to your life, yes to your dreams, yes to your unfolding future. Give yourselves a round of applause. Give yourself a round of applause. I didn't do this for years. I would go in the balcony of auditoriums and watch Jim Rohn and Dr. Dennis Waitley and Zig Ziglar. And my heart would beat so fast because I love helping people. How many of you love helping people? Raise your hands. I love helping people. And my heart said, I can do that. But then when I would leave there, and as I was walking to the car, my mental conditioning began to speak. And it would say, Les Brown, you can't do that. You don't have a college education. Les Brown, you can't do that. What makes you think that you have something to say that somebody would listen to you? Les Brown, you can't do that. What makes you think that you can speak for AT&T, Procter & Gamble, McDonald's Corporation, IBM? You've never worked for a major corporation. Les Brown, you can't do that. You were adopted. You don't even know who your parents are. How many of you ever thought about something you wanted to do? You felt it in your heart, and then your mind talked you out of it. Raise your hands, please. I convinced myself that I couldn't do it. I learned something from that experience. Whenever there's an argument between your heart and your mind, follow your heart. There are things that the heart can understand and feel that the mind cannot relate to. Maybe that's why my favorite book says, lean not unto thine own understanding, and all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. There are things that you feel, that you know in your heart of hearts that's not logical, it's not practical, it's not realistic, but there's something in you that says, I can do this. I can do this. After facing defeats and disappointments and failures again and again and again, there's still something in you that says, I can do this. Operating out of a thinking when life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because when you can look up, you can get up. I can do this. I can do this. When you present and people say, oh yes, I'd like to be a part of that. Yes, they have the personality and they need it and they don't show up. You end up being a babysitter. You have to be a counselor and a psychologist and a minister. They challenge you to pray to Jesus and Yahweh and Melchizedek and Buddha. They'll get on your last nerve, have you chanting, Nomi Yoho Renge Kyo. It's interesting when you talk to people about securing their future, and you can't help them to become actively engaged in their own life. A friend of mine named Lorraine had me to come to do an intervention with her brother that was addicted to drugs, and he told us to get out of his house. And as we were going down the steps, I said, I'm sorry I failed. I'm so disappointed. And she said something that I'll never forget. I want you to remember. She said, Les, most people won't participate in their own rescue. Wow. Most people won't participate and their own rescue. You have a vehicle that will allow them to create their own job. You have products that people need. You have training and coaching where they'll be in business for themselves, but not by themselves. You have leadership of people who've proven that it's possible you can live your dreams. It's possible you got a shot at creating a fortune. Everybody's not going to do it. We can't predict performance. And all you are saying, hey, listen, here's an opportunity. And don't take it personal when people say no to you. They're not saying no to you. They're saying no to themselves. They're saying no to living a bigger life. They're saying no to what's going on in their head because they're suffering from possibility blindness. They can't see themselves doing more. They don't want to do that extra work. So they're saving you some time. They know they're trifling and don't want to work. Don't try and convince them to say yes. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. This is hard work. H-A-R-D and H-E-A-R-T. Hard work and heart work. You got to gut this out. You've got to make know your vitamin. You've got to fail your way to success. You've got to be unstoppable. You have to operate like Willie Jolly, who said a setback is a setup for a comeback. You've got to be relentless when you're building a business. You've got to be able to have courage after you face rejection and again and again and again. After somebody tell you they're going to show up and then they don't come, they don't return your calls. It takes courage. You go out and start talking to people. It takes courage when creditors are breathing down your neck and family members saying, oh, there he goes again with another pyramid scheme. Am I making sense to you? What I'm doing. I didn't do this for 14 years because I didn't have the courage. I was afraid of being rejected because I don't have a college education. I had a tremendous inferiority complex. And something else. In order to make this business successful, to go from a 9 to 5 to 5 until you faint, it's a different mindset. It requires a radical change. How many of you know that it's hard building a thriving residual income on a monthly basis? Raise your hands, please. Yeah. That's why most people won't say yes. It's much easier to complain about the economy. It's much easier to complain about our elected officials. It's much easier to talk about the recession. That's much easier. To come up with excuses and why you can't do it. That's where I was. That's where I set up station for a long time. My mentor said something to me, Mike Williams. I want you to write this down. He said, anybody can complain. He said, if you do what is easy, that's complaining. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. Come on now. That's strong medicine. If you do what is easy, complain about your situation, your circumstances. If you do what is easy, stand around and be a volunteer victim like everybody else. If you do what is easy, surrender and give up on your dreams, become depressed and bitter and angry. Anybody can do that. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, keep coming back again and again and again. If you do what is hard, approaching strangers, talking to people in shopping malls, get up dressed every day, going out prospecting, knowing some way, somehow, with a spirit of expectation, somebody's out here looking for an opportunity. You can go outside right now and see some pigeons, but you're out hunting for eagles, and they're not common. And if you do that over and over and over again, somebody's going to show up. Somebody's going to say, I'm the one. Dr. Thurman, I love him so much. What a great writer. He said, there's something in each and every one of you that waits and listens to the voice of the genuine in yourself. It will be perhaps the only guide you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it, all of your life, your days will be spent on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. And I submit to you that you invested the time and money to go to the airport, to fly cross country. I suggest to you, some of you drove here. I suggest to you, you showed up because you said, I'm going to pull my own strings. I'm going to control my own life. Nobody will ever pull my strings again. Give yourselves a round of applause. I want you to write this down, Choosing Your Future. It's a program that we've created that's designed to put in place for you to work on yourself. A systematic process that changes your mindset. It's possible, it's necessary. It's you, it's hard, it's worth it, it's done. It's 6 CDs. Repeat after me, please. It's possible. Yeah, see, the easiest thing that I do now is come up on stage and speak to you. That's easy. But the most difficult thing that I've ever done, and it took me years to do, was to believe that I can do it. To believe that I could stand up and not be afraid and speak from my heart and think and be able to present, to believe that that was possible for me. For 14 years, I didn't do it. Mike Williams said, Les, you can do more than what you're now doing. But I didn't believe it. I just couldn't see myself doing it. I'm saying to you, there's some things that you can accomplish that you can't see right now. My favorite book says, eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you when you're willing to say yes, when you're willing to move forward, when you're willing to come back again and again and again in pursuit of your dream. Life will respond to you. You'll discover some things about yourself. Mindset transformation is very important. Be ye not conformed to this world. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. You don't want to think like everybody else. You want uncommon thinking. Here's the other thing. Expand your skill set. This is the age of what the late Peter Drucker calls the era of the 3 C's. Accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. So you have to expand your skill set to stay ahead of technology and cheap labor abroad. When I was a kid, you got on an elevator, I was an elevator boy. What floor, please? We operated elevators manually. So then we're going through creative destruction. Somebody created an elevator that didn't require a person being there employed to close the door and take the people to the designated floor. When I was a kid, girls would say, what do you want to do when you become an adult? I want to be an operator, a long-distance operator. Years ago, when you made a long-distance call, you had to call a long-distance operator. Then somebody created technology that you can dial direct. Am I making this up? Anybody remember use that call a long-distance operator? It's called creative destruction. Somebody created technology that we don't have to do that anymore. So today, what multi-level marketing does allow you to secure your future, to stay ahead of technology and cheap labor abroad. You can hire a PhD or an MBA in the Philippines or India for $2.60 an hour. So what you're doing is you're staying ahead of the game because we're going through continuously creative destruction. think about Mr. Washington. Young man, yes, sir. What do you want to do with your life? I want to buy my mother a home, sir. I want to take care of my mother. You do? Yes, sir. I want to make my mother proud. How can you say you want to make your mother proud and you were in the dean's office the other day for fighting? Sir, they call me DT, the dumb twin. So you're going to fight them? Yes, sir. Why, Brown? Why? Anger is the wind that blows out the lamp of the mind. How do I get even, sir? Tell me. They pick on me all the time because it takes me longer to learn things than others. I'm not like my sister at the University of Miami. I'm not like my brother. They always compare me to him. Mr. Brown, you want to get even? Yes, sir. He said, you have a good memory, young man. Yes, I do. Yes, I do, sir. Remember these words by Frank Sinatra. The best revenge is massive success. Become massively successful. That's how you become even. Thank you, sir. Mr. Brown? Yes, sir. Why did you sign those papers? What are you talking about? You're the first student in special education that was labeled educable mental retarded, put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade. You failed in the 8th grade. I fought for you. I saw something in you. You've got greatness in you. I know you're not as fast as your brother. I know you're not like Margaret Ann, your sister. But there's a hunger in you, sir. And I fought for you to get that, and I saw your name. I couldn't believe it when you signed it to somebody else. Why did you do that? Several teachers met with me and said that you wouldn't be with me at Florida A&M University to help me. Mr. Washington, they said if I didn't make the honor roll at Booker T. Washington High School, I would not make it at Florida A&M. You've been like a father to me. I never would want to bring embarrassment to your name. Mr. Brown, I know it's harder for you. But once you learn something because of your hunger, you got it. You master it. He said, I don't care what they said. But did you believe that you could go there and graduate? To be honest with you, sir, no, sir. Not without you, sir. Mr. Brown? Yes, sir. Listen to me. Yes, sir. Sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. Sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. Whoever recruited you to become involved in their organization, they saw something in you. Whoever asked you to be a part of their team, they saw greatness in you. See, you need people in your life who can see things that you can't see. You want to find whoever got you in the business and say to them, thank you. I told Robert Boyd, who recruited me for Best Line Products, thank you, Bob. I don't know what you saw, but I'm not going to disappoint you. You find whoever recruited you, because you are looking for eagles in this business. You're not looking for people who need more. You're looking for people who want more. Let us say together, it's possible. Everybody together, it's possible. I can live my dreams. I will work on myself every day. I will retrain my thinking every day. I will listen to audio programs. I would read 10 to 15 pages of something positive every day. I will turn off my television and turn on my life. Let us say together, it's necessary. to detoxify your life. Ladies and gentlemen, how many of you are serious about reaching your goals? Raise your hands, please. Very good. Jim Rohn asked this question. Look at the people in your life and ask the question, what is this relationship doing to me? See, in order for you to go to the next level, there are some people you need to let go. Let us say together, let go, or be dragged. There are some people, because of their negativity, they're emotional vampires. They will drain you. You want to be around people that you can learn from, that you can grow from. Dr. Dennis Kimbrough out of Atlanta said, if you're the smartest one in your group, you need to get a new group. Les, can I change them? No. It's a full-time job changing yourself. There's some people that's comfortable being negative, comfortable being a volunteer victim. There's some people that's so negative they can walk into a dark room and begin to develop. Oh, behave. My medication wearing off now. When you're talking about earning more money, you got to be serious. One sickness can wipe out a fortune. 95% of the people who filed bankruptcy last year did so because of medical expenses. People say money won't make you happy, but everybody want to find out for themselves. A friend of mine, Rita Davenport, said money ain't important, but it's right up there with oxygen. And let me tell you something, fellas, even if you're as homeless as I am, you got some money, women will find something cute on you. Oh, he's got earlobes like Tom Cruise. He's got a walk like Denzel Washington. I used to be so broke, I'd walk past a bank and trip the alarm. Creditors would call the house and my children would answer the phone and say, my daddy say he ain't home. And sometimes they would catch me on the phone. May I speak to Les Brown, please? Sorry, but he's not here. You sound like Les Brown. Don't you go there, big boy. Oh, my God. Red Fox said money can't buy you happiness, but it can make a big down payment. Oh. This thing called life. Here's something else. Write this down. You're going to fail your way to success. There are people who look promising. They're going to disappoint you, hurt your feelings. There are people who should be there to encourage you, to motivate you. They're going to be the #1 members of the discouragement club. Before things get better for you, they're going to get real bad. When you have a dream, think it not strange that you'll face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might, you will have tribulations. How many of you know that's true? Raise your hands, please. Things are going to happen to you. And don't complain. Don't go around telling everybody. 80% don't care. 20% glad it's you. Suck it up and keep on prospecting. And make it happen. Life is happening to everybody. Everybody, let us say together, leap and grow your wings on the way down. See, in order to control your destiny, you've got to be a risk taker. You got to be willing to risk people talking about you. You got to be willing to risk someone saying no. You got to be willing to fail again and again and again. You're different. You're an entrepreneur. You're strange. You're not like everybody else. We live in a world where we're told more about our limitations rather than our potential, and so most people just can't see themselves doing better. But you're different. You see some things they can't see. And I encourage you, every one of you in this room right now, you're here for a reason. How many of you know people who should be here? Raise your hands, please. Yes. But you know what? They're in their rightful place. Their rightful place is where their thoughts have brought them. Their true place is where their thoughts can take them. Everybody is in their rightful place. Here's something else. Seek out positive information. I want you to write this down. My Facebook page is brown.less. Every day we post a positive message there. Every day at brown.less. Because you're in this room, I want you to write this down. Because we're going to send you, we're going to do something called presentation power, and you're going to get a chance to view some videos that will give you some directions. But more importantly, I'll tell you what I'm going to send you. I'm going to send you 7 power strategies of how to be a powerful storyteller. So email me at yes@lesbrown.com and say, send me the 7 principles. Mention that you were at this convention. We'll send that to you free. It will give you a guideline how to tell your story. When I started off this presentation, I started off telling my story. I was born in the poor section of Miami, Florida, in Liberty City. Born in an abandoned building with a twin brother. Do you remember I told you that? My mother worked on Miami Beach as a domestic worker, making up beds, cooking for families. Remember I told you that? See, your story is your power. How many of you have gone through some things? Raise your hands, please. How many of you experienced some things in your life? Raise your hands, please. How many of you have periods in your life like me where you're temporarily insane? Raise your hand, please. Your story. A presentation power will tell you how to tell your story. I've given lectures at Harvard, Yale, spoken around the world, telling my story. You got a story too. Here's what the power of the story does and why it's important in your presentation and building your organization and why it's going to give you the upper hand and how to recruit people and how many of you like to get A players? Raise your hands, please. Good. Here's what your story does. Write this down. Distract. See, how people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. When you're presenting one-on-one or a small group or in a large group, when you tell your story, you are creating an interruption. When you're telling your story about the business of being on a path of creating financial independence, you're interrupting their story, what psychologists call the self-explanatory style. So distract. Let us say together, distract. Here's the other one. Say dispute. When you are going through your presentation, and we're going to teach you how to do this, you're dismantling their limited belief system where they've been programmed to believe only in having a job, the journey of the broke, where they're miserable. They go to work, where they pay them just enough to keep them from quitting, and they work just hard enough to keep from getting fired. That's what you call mixed emotions. Seeing somebody you hate drive off a cliff in your car. You are glad they're gone, but not in my car. Can you feel me up in here, Can you feel me? People go to jobs that they hate, 87% of Americans, and guess what? And they pray they don't get fired. That's no way to live. That's why you're here. You just said, you know what? No, I ain't going out like this. You know, I'm telling you. And people think you're crazy, and you are. You got to be crazy today. You got to be out of your mind. My favorite book said, let that mind be in you. You got to have another mind in you that says, I got this. This is my life. I own this. I'm going to call the shots here. Nobody's going to tell me how much I'm worth, what time I can take a lunch break. I'm not going to anybody and ask for permission to take my family on vacation. No, I got this. I've got a vehicle that can take me to another place. That's why you said yes. Give yourselves a round of applause. Mr. Washington said, Mr. Brown, transform your mindset. Number 2, he said, practice. Let us say together, OQP. Write this down. Only quality people. Only quality people. You don't want everybody in your organization. You want only quality people. Here's something else he said. Mr. Brown, yes, sir. And this is what we're going to do in this presentation. That's called presentation power. He said, develop your communication skills, how you present yourself, how you sell yourself. He said, once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. And then he said something else. Let us say together with conviction. I want everybody to join me on this. Let us say together, you got to be hungry. Say it again, you got to be hungry. He said, what do you want to do with your life, young man? I said, sir, I want to buy my mother a home. He said, you got to be hungry. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, people that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. He said, people that are hungry are relentless. People that are hungry are unstoppable. People that are hungry refuse to give up. People that are hungry, no excuse is acceptable for not making their dream become a reality. I said, I'm hungry, sir. I'm hungry to take care of my mother. I'm hungry to make her proud. I told my mother that she'll never have to pay another bill once I turn 18, and she hasn't, Mr. Washington. I'm hungry, sir, for another life. I'm not going to die here in Liberty City. I want to travel, sir. I want to see the world. He said, you can do that, sir. He said, practice OQP, only quality people. If you run around with 9 broke people, he said, I guarantee you, you'll become number 10. He said, work on your mindset. Listen to these audio programs I'm giving you every day. Glenn Turner, Dare to Be Great, every day. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, Jim Rohn, every day. Zig Ziglar, program your mind, Mr. Brown. He said, how do you plan to buy your mother a home? I said, sir, I want to become a disc jockey. He said, is that right? I said, yes, sir. He said, good. He said, work on your mind. Here are my car keys. What do you want me to do with this? At lunchtime, go in my car, turn on the radio, and listen to Paul Harvey. Why? He's the world's greatest communicator. You want to be successful? Yes, sir. He says, listen and study people that are great communicators. That's the key to controlling your future. I said, but that's at lunchtime. In order to be successful, you got to be hungry. You got to be willing to do the things today others won't do. Are you willing to do that to be successful? To buy your mother a home? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's what you have done. You've got some goals that you want to achieve. There's some things that you want to do. And you've said to yourself, I'm willing to face the no's. You've said to yourself, I'm willing for people to laugh at me. You said to yourself, I'm willing to gut this out. You said to yourself, I'm willing to make this happen. You said to yourself, I'm going to do whatever it takes to build this business. I can do it. If anybody's ever done it at any point in time in history, then what's possible for one, it's possible for me, and I'm going to do it. That's what you said to yourself. He said, listen to Paul Harvey every day. So you want to be a disc jockey? Yes, sir. He said, I want you to create your format. What will your personality be? What style are you going to have? I said, wait a minute, sir. I want to be a disc jockey, but I don't have a job yet. And then he said something. He said, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. He said, you got to expect to become successful. Let us say together, I expect to win. I expect to increase my recruitment. I expect to be a great presenter. I expect to become a millionaire. It's my time. It's possible. It's necessary. It's me. It's hard. It's worth it. Nietzsche said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow. Your homework assignment is write down 5 reasons that will make it worth it for you. So when the tough times come, and they're going to come, when you feel like you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that's a part of the process, your reasons will be your rod and staff to comfort you, to take you through the storms of life. He told me, you want to be a disc jockey, practice on your communication skills. Visualize yourself talking to thousands of people, Mr. Brown. See yourself on stage presenting. Be willing to invest in yourself. Warren Buffett was being interviewed by a financial analyst on CNN. He said, what's the most important investment a person can make today? Warren Buffett, a billionaire, has billions of dollars in the stock market, billions of dollars in real estate. He looked at the reporter and said, the most important investment you can make is in yourself. The reason you're here, the reason you invested your money, your time and energy in transportation and the room and all the costs in a so-called tough economy, because you have the mindset of a billionaire. You know, investing in yourself, you are your most treasured asset. Give yourselves a round of applause. Come on, bring your energy level up. So he said, Mr. Brown, I've done all that I can do for you. You've got to go out and face the music. You go with the things I've taught you and make it happen. I went to WMBM radio station on Miami Beach. Milton Butterball Smith was the program director. Hello, Mr. Butterball. My name is Les Brown, sir. I'd like to be a disc jockey. He said, young man, you have any journalism in your background? No, sir, I don't. You have any experience in broadcasting? No, sir, I don't, but I practice every day. Let me audition for you. Let me show you how good I am. He says, no, we don't have any job for you. How many have been rejected? Raise your hands, please. I was devastated with rejection. I went back to Mr. Washington. I said, Mr. Washington, they said no. He said, don't take it personally. Most people are so negative, they have to say no 7 times before they say yes. He said, you got to be hungry. Go back again. I said, yes, sir. I went back again. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I'd like to be a disc jockey. He said, I know what your name is. Weren't you here yesterday? Yes, sir. Didn't I tell you no yesterday? Yes, sir. He said, then why are you back today? I said, well, sir, I didn't know whether or not somebody was laid off or somebody was fired, sir. No one was laid off or fired. Now get on out of here. I came back the next day, talking loud, looking happy, like I was seeing you for the first time. I said, hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you? My name is Les Brown, sir. I'd like to be a disc jockey. He said, I know what your name is. Weren't you here the last 2 days? I said, yes, sir. Didn't I tell you no the last 2 days? I said, yes, sir. He said, then why are you back today? I said, sir, I didn't know whether or not someone got sick or someone died, sir. He said, no one got sick or died. No one was laid off or fired. Now don't you come back here again. I came back the next day, talking loud, looking happy, like I was singing for the first time. I said, hello, Mr. At me with rage. He said, go get me some coffee. I said, yes, sir. My favorite book said, the greatest among you will be your servant. So I became the errand boy for the disc jockeys. I was serving them. I'd go get their lunch and their dinner, and I'd come into the control room, watching them working the control room knobs and switches, knowing my time will come. Let us say together, my time will come. When I'll be a top producer. And when I'll come up on stage and they call my name because of my accomplishment, my time will come. Because I'm going to put forth the effort. And so on the weekends when the disc jockeys would come out to the parking lot, the cars would be clean inside out. They said, hey, who did this? I did, sir. How much do you charge, young man? Oh, nothing, sir. I just wanted to help out. Write this down. Build relationships. Build relationships. Give before you ask people to come into your business. Find some way to compliment them. Talk to them, ask them questions. Find out what's important to them, what's stressing them out, what keeps them up at night, what drives them, what they value. Don't advance with the business. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. That's why you want to tell the story and ask key questions. You want to be strategic and experiential. Write this down. You have an energy signature. People are feeling you out. They're listening to you. They're watching you. And so, it said, look, here are my car keys, young man. Dinah Ross and the Supremes are coming to town, the Four Tops and the Temptations. I want you to pick them up at the airport and take them to the Fontainebleau Hotel on Miami Beach. It is my pleasure to serve you, sir. I would drive these entertainers all over Miami Beach in the disc jockeys' big, long Cadillacs. I didn't have any driver's license, but I'll drive it like I had some. Then one day, it's a Saturday afternoon, a disc jockey by the name of Rockin' Roger was drinking while he was on the air. Rockin' Roger got so drunk, he could not complete the show. He began to slur his words. He's about to fall off the chair. It's a Saturday afternoon, and I was the only one there, looking at him through the control room window, walking back and forth, young, ready, and hungry. I was saying, drink, rock, drink. Drink, rock. I'd have gone and get him some more if he'd asked me to. Then pretty soon the phone rang. It was a general manager. I said, hello? He said, young boy, this is Mr. Clyde. I said, I know. He said, Rock can't finish the program. I said, I know. He said, will you call one of the other DJs in? I said, yes, sir. I hung the phone up and said, now he must think I'm crazy. I called my mama and my girlfriend, Cassandra. I said, y'all come out on the front porch, turn up the radio. I'm about to come on the air. I waited for about 20 minutes and I called him back. I said, Mr. Klein, I can't find nobody. He said, young boy, you know how to work the controls? I said, yes, sir. He said, go in there and segue the records, but don't you say nothing here. I said, yes, sir. I couldn't wait to get old Rock out of the way. I put on a fast record. I said, look out, this is me, LB, Triple P. Les Brown, your platter playing papa. There were none before me, and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single and love to mingle. Certified, bona fide, duly qualified to bring you satisfaction and a whole lot of action. Look out, baby, I'm your love man. I was hungry. Give the old man a round of applause. I was hungry. I was hungry. I was hungry. You got to be hungry. Shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, you got to be hungry. Do that right now. Shake somebody else's hand. Say, you got to be hungry. People that are hungry believe if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. People that are hungry believe what Zig said when he said, if you give enough people what they want, they will give you what you want. People that are hungry believe always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. People that are hungry are uncommon people. They say yes to their dreams. They say yes to an opportunity where they can develop their entrepreneurial skills, where they can develop their mind and their leadership skills, where they can become versatile and flexible and create and build a business they can be proud of. People that are hungry have a vision of themselves when they leave here, leaving a legacy and not liabilities. People that are hungry understand that most people die at age 25 and don't get buried till they're 65 because they're not willing to take a chance on themselves. People that are hungry are a rare breed. They're risk takers. I don't know what you want to do. Seemed like yesterday when I was the new kid on the block. Now at 68, I'm the old timer. I used to think people in their 40s were old. Now I'm 68, I feel like I served at the Lord's Supper. And I know I look young for 68. because I use mascara to cover my gray hair. I was over there asking Maria. I said, Marita, can you have any of this mascara? She said, oh, you look just fine. My kids say, Daddy, you look distinguished with your gray hair. I said, 68, I'm not trying to look distinguished. I'm trying to look young. I got to tell you this story. Don't tell anybody, please. I gave this speech at the Georgia Dome. And after I finished, it's called It's Not Over Till I Win. And after I finished, somebody came back and said, Mr. Brown, I know you're tired, and our speaker canceled. Do you have enough energy to do another program? I said, no, I'm tired. He said, we can pay you a full fee of $25,000. I said, the Lord is able. So they took me over to the Georgia World Congress Center. And it was an intimate setting. People were very close to the stage. So I looked in the room, and then I went in the restroom and got my little Mademoiselle mascara out to cover my gray, in my mustache and everything. So I came in the room. The lady wanted everybody to know that she knew me. So she said, there he is, Les Brown. I came up on the stage. She holds her cheek out for me to kiss it. I kissed her on the cheek and left this big black smudge on her face. I said, oh my God. So I didn't know what to do, so I just sat down. So the people down front start saying, there's something on your face. She looks at me, she said, what are they saying? I said, I don't know. Then one nosy lady went over there, opened up her pocketbook, and gave her a mirror. Now, nobody asked her to do that. Getting in the Kool-Aid, don't know the flavor. She looks and see the big black smudge on her face. She said, how did this get here? I said, I don't know. You think maybe some of this rubs off? Well, the reason I'm telling you this, don't worry if I kiss you today, because Marie said, you don't need it. You'll be just fine. You look distinguished. Whatever. How many of you like to learn how to improve your presentation skills? Raise your hand. We're going to do a webinar that will walk you through a process and teach you how to tell your story so you can speak in your community on a volunteer basis and be able to make a difference. How many of you like to make a difference with your story? Raise your hands. Very good. We will show you how to do this. I've been doing this now for 40 years. I love and admire Eric Worre for who he is to me as a friend, but the passion that he has in giving you the tools that you need, not just the mindset, but the skill set of what it takes to build a strong multi-level marketing business. I can tell you, based upon my experience, and he's not paying me to be here. He's got a blue light special going on up in here. This is my friend that I love him. There are a few people who can call me, and I'll get on a flight, and I only had 4 hours of sleep to come in to speak. I was very subdued and conservative today, but I love and admire him. But if you're serious about your story, make sure you email me and put in there the 7 story principles. Put that in there, and we will email this to you free at lesbrown.com. I'd like to leave this with you. After leaving Zig's memorial yesterday, who was a great man, who contributed so much to so many people, I said, God, let me touch and change millions of people's lives like Zig has done. Let me make my mark like he made an incredible mark. Let me touch hearts and minds like he touched me when I first saw him. And I drove many miles, 400 and 500 miles, to see him and Jim Rohn and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Charlie Tremendous Jones. Let me be an instrument to give people hope, to inspire them to expand their skill set,
to encourage them to create collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. God, let me live a life that counts, that means something to people. God, help me to be able to inspire people like Mr. Washington inspired me, like Mike Williams, my mentor for the past 43 years, who saw something in me I could not see in myself, who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Please let me live a life that matters. I want to leave this with you. At this stage of my life, my goal is to train 100,000 speakers who will have one message: hope, skill set, and collaborative relationships that will change how people think, how they feel, and how they act. 100,000 people outside of religion and outside of politics, both of which I believe polarize and divide people. 100,000 ordinary people who want to live an extraordinary life. God, give me the stamina and the vision to use my gift that you have given me to work with people who are hungry to make their lives count. I want to leave this with you that my mother used to love to say to me when she was in pain. Leslie, yes, ma'am. Come in here. Yes, ma'am, mama. What is it, baby? Say that thing for me, boy. That makes me feel good. Yes, ma'am, mama. My mother's dream was to raise 7 children she didn't have, to make sure we had a roof over our head and food on the table. And she never failed. We never went to sleep hungry. She's a hard worker, and she had faith. I remember the first home I bought her in. This home she saw. I said, Mama, how you like this? She said, if I lived in something like that, I would feel like Mrs. Rockefeller. She didn't know I had planned to get that home for her. I purchased the home, and I said, Mama, I think I know the people who live there. You do? I said, yes, ma'am. I said, I'm going to stop in and say hello. And I drove there, and I opened the door. And she got out, and Mama at that time, around 76, she held my arm, and we were walking toward the house. She looked at how beautiful this house was. She said, Leslie, you sure you know these people? Yes, ma'am, Mama, I do. And we got to the door, and I couldn't hold it anymore. I reached in my pocket, I took the key out, and I put it in the door. I said, Mrs. Rockefeller, this is your home. She said, Leslie, what are you talking about? I said, Mama, I bought this for you. I pushed the door open. She stuck her head in the door. She said, anybody home? I said, no, Mama. Nobody's here. This is yours. It's fully furnished. Multi-level marketing made that happen. This is going to happen for you. It's already happened for some of you. Mama has since passed. She was born on November the 6th, just like Zig. I remember her walking around the house looking and said, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. And Leslie, you were such a problem kid. You were so crazy. I said, I know, Mama, but I'm rich now. I dedicate this to the dream in you. Say that thing for me, boy. Yes, ma'am. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it. If all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, And if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famish, or gulf, sickness or pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God, you'll get it. This has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's Baby Boy. God bless you. God bless your dream. God bless America. Thank you so very much.